Good morning, everyone. Welcome to EMAS Teacher Training Academy and its Club Innovators Educators Club. This time we have a wonderful speaker, Miss Sujata Suresh. She has come up with her, you can say, about her own, a topic and in conscious human engagement. That is her. That topic name is Chetana. Let me tell about her. Sujata Suresh is a learning and development professional with 20 years of experience and she is passionate about training. She is the founder of Pravara. Her work is centered and around a simple yet powerful vision to facilitate inner transformation and make a positive difference to people and organizations. Over the years, she has the opportunity to work closely with students, educators, professionals designing and delivering programs that build self awareness, communication, leadership, and learning sensitivity. Sujata is deeply passionate about understanding how people think, how they learn, how we can respond more consciously in our interactions, especially in the space of education. Through today's session, Chetana, I look forward to exploring with all of you how awareness of thinking preferences and multiple intelligence can help us become more sensitive, inclusive, and effective educators in alignment with the vision of NEP 2020. The topic Chetana is about conscious human engagement through awareness and nature's abilities is a reflective and experiential session designed to enable educators to understand how learners think, process, and engage with knowledge. The session has two frameworks, key frameworks: thinking preferences, concrete, abstract, sequential, and random, helping educators recognize how learners perceive and organize information, and multiple intelligence, enabling educators to identify diverse trends in learners beyond conventional academic measures. By integrating these perspectives, Chaitanya supports educators. So let us see how this is going to help us being an educator, how it is going to offer a practical lens to better understand student diversity, adapt teaching approaches, and nurture meaningful engagement, leading to improved learning outcomes and stronger teacher student connections. Over to you, Ms. Sujata Suresh.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much,
being
ma'am.
here.
Is my video showing, ma'am? Is the video showing? My slide, is it showing? Okay. Good afternoon to all of you. Greetings to all of you. It's an absolute joy to be over here with you all. Yes, I coined this word as Chetana. In Sanskrit, Chetana means awareness. And so it is that, awareness can make a huge difference. And awareness, only if we are conscious, only if we are aware, we are conscious of something going wrong. Only if we are conscious, do we know how to make a change for ourselves. So this is where we find that Chetana, I use that itself as an acronym: conscious human engagement through awareness of natures and abilities. Different people have different natures, different people have different abilities. Through training in school, college, and in corporate, handling programs for entrepreneurs, relationship well-being, and for mental well-being.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes,
Actually, can you be a little louder? Like, I think
sure.
it's very slow.
Oh, I see. Is this better, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Can I start from the beginning, ma'am? Is it all right?
Yeah, yeah, you can start or it is all right. No problem.
Right, ma'am. The presentation is available, right? I'm just wanting to
Yes.
make sure. Thank you, ma'am. Greetings for all EMAS educators and audience. It's an honor for me to be over here. I feel very honored to be able to participate and connect with Dr. Saida and work with you all. This opportunity was given to us is that, I've through my experience in training in college, corporates, and schools, and doing programs for mental and emotional well-being, I find that it is what is one is trying to say and what is the other one understanding it as. In this urge of trying to be correct and trying to say what we want to say, we somehow miss out the empathy or understanding what is it that's happening with the other person. Today's session, I will be making it in two ways. One, I will be sharing a PowerPoint, and for the some part of it, I will be taking off the PowerPoint. Okay. So, what is Chetana? It's a Sanskrit word. Chetana is a Sanskrit word about awareness. All right. And this is, it goes beyond awareness, it becomes conscious. Being conscious of what we are doing, being conscious of what we are thinking, being conscious of thoughts have come. All right. Now, what do I do with the thoughts? Do I play with the thoughts? Do I give in to all the thoughts that come? Or do I sort them out? In Hindi, we have a beautiful word. It is called parakna. We sieve through the thoughts that have come and pick up the one that is most appropriate. That's why conscious human engagement through awareness of what? Awareness of natures and abilities. This has been drawn like a lotus, and which is usually signifying knowledge, jnana. All right. So we are looking at each word to be meaning something. All right. So C stands for conscious sensitivity to understand and empathize. H is holistic awareness so that we can connect better. E is engaged learning so that you explore. Everyone gains some learning or the other through every interaction. T is thoughtful teaching. We are thoughtful. All right. A is adaptive growth. We are making sure that we can support people to grow. N is nurturing growth. This is where when we nurture, we inspire. And A again is awareness of others' rights and their experiences. It may not be what is true for A, may not be true for B. That is dependent on their experience and what they have gone through in the past. And so we become awareness of others' rights. Every right that I have, I must be responsible for the others' rights as well. I've closed it with E because we must learn to enable and not label. Every child we are educating, every individual who is with us, we are making sure that we are not only making sure for the children that they grow into very good adults, we are all contributing towards citizenship. If my cursor is visible, there is a book over here. So there is an educational teaching that happens in educational institutions. There is a teaching from society, from multimedia, from elders, from caregivers, from everywhere else. Teaching happens there also. Society, by the way they have their voices and choices, they also influence. All this together contributes to becoming a citizen. And so, every child we are educating becomes a contributor towards the citizenship of our country, of our place, of the location, of the community. A conscious teacher nurtures conscious citizens. So, why this Chetana E? It's because classrooms are diverse. Learners are thinking differently. Not only differently, when we go through an assessment, you'll see that same teaching does not mean same learning, right? I find that terminology is varying. For some children, if you say it's okay, they accept. For some children, when we say it's okay, they're wondering whether don't take it seriously. It's okay. So they are taking it in another way. I would not say mistake. So same teaching may not be, lead to same learning. Here is where we have to become smart about it, right? Because the core idea over here is minds differ in how they perceive, process, organize. I'd like to share over here that these are all not, these are preferences, they are not abilities as such, really. And where we may see that how these minds are differing. The way I perceive because of a reel I saw, or a video I saw, or a talk by someone will help me perceive things differently. The process also of imbibing it will be different for different people. The reason I'm making the word, interchanging the word with people and children is that, as I shared earlier, teaching happens through education and an educational setup where there is a learning room, like how you all are seated in one place and I'm seated in another place, a virtual learning room. There is a physical learning room where they have an infrastructure and then they sit there. Now, these kinds are a certain learning where there is a focus about it. But learning or teaching happens even while we are riding in a bus, someone commenting about how the child is eating and why the child could not eat better, why the parent could not teach the child better. That comments are also teaching. They teach in a certain way. Maybe the parent or the child may become reactive about it. That's why I said it's a process. It is different involvements are coming into this process itself of teaching and learning. How we organize thoughts, how we organize our words keeps varying. Here is where we see that when we are organizing, if we learn to organize as an educator, we organize our content and work towards that. Now you find that the way the receipt, how there can be a lead, it can lead to, I correct myself, it can lead to a SOP that I've addressed it for different learners, different learning styles, different natures, different ability people. And now what I find is what I'm saying is reaching out to more. Here is the point I come to where I say that I will not be putting the PowerPoint on. All right. I request you all to take a paper and pen. It's not many questions, they're just few questions. Okay. We'll reflect on our own thinking styles. And here, as I'm transitioning to thinking styles, I'm transitioning from PowerPoint to no PowerPoint. Now, what we do is I will be giving you, thank you all for being with me. It's wonderful having you all. Okay. I'm actually going through, 1 second, please. Yes. I'll be asking you some questions. All right. And when you go through those questions, you'll be able to, you'll be marking your responses to that. Okay. Let us pause for a moment. Before we understand learners, we try to understand ourselves. As teachers, we often focus on how students learn. Rarely do we ask, how do I think? How do I process information? What feels natural to me? When the moment we become an educator, the focus is going towards outside. Today in Chetana, I'm saying let's look within. Because the way we teach is deeply influenced by the way we think. This is a reflection exercise. There are no right or wrong answers. As I read out few statements, what feels natural to you, you can make a note of it. Do you prefer, I'm starting, do you prefer clear examples and practical situations or ideas concepts, possibilities, and thinking in the air. You prefer step by step structured learning or something which is free flowing, which is flexible? I hope you're making your notes. The next one is, do you like to follow a sequence or do you jump between ideas and connect them like how the web does? If it is comfortable for you, if it is possible, all right, you can say, you can raise your hand as you feel this. All right. I'm going to ask you that, when it is concrete, when you need clear examples and practical situations. When your thinking is abstract, you don't mind any thoughts coming in, words coming in, free flowing, you're abstract. When you like to follow a sequence, your way of organizing is sequential. When we jump between ideas and connect them, we are random. I want to ask you, have you got a clear thought process here on, is it a combination of concrete and abstract, sequential and random? If it is possible, I would request you to key in your answers. Were your answers concrete? What did the questions give you an idea as? Concrete, abstract, sequential, random? I'd like to share that from experience, we have found that we are not just one type, right? We are not just one type, we are a combination. As I shared with you, teaching earlier was through educational environment. Mostly the same thing was being repeated in your home environment. Today, there is multimedia. So we find that also the upbringing matters. So we find that we are not one type, we are a combination. A person can be deeply thoughtful and abstract, yet they may need structure to express it. They may be practical, yet they think in a flexible, non-linear way. Recently, I want to share this anecdote. I had been for a wedding in Bengaluru and met friends who were from many years ago. We were meeting after a long time. Here was an educator, one of them was an educator, and she says, this is the way a classroom should be. This is the way it should be. She was very, very structured. And then we were discussing about marriage because we were in a wedding scenario. And she says that today, this is her perception. She says that looks like, today children are not really believing in marriage, a very free way of thinking. A person who is very structured, how do you keep this, how this should be, how this should be, to suddenly being very free? It may look conflicting if we were not aware about that people can be a combination of many things. I hope this example has been helpful for you. Y'all can please put messages in the chat group so that I will be able to catch up to understand what is it you are having to say. Yes, I'm very keen to know. Moving forward, now connecting this concrete, abstract, sequential, and random to to education itself. If I teach only in my way, students whose way of learning is similar to mine will grasp it. There is no assurance for the others. The remaining may become disconnected. So we bridge this transition and we move on to the next thought. We are trying not to label ourselves. Remember the E, to enable and not label. We are learning to expand our awareness so that we can teach every type of combination of learners. So we cannot nomenclature and say that this is only this kind, this student is only this behavior. This student who looks like a likes to prefer a structured environment, a sequential learning, may be handling many things because his mother and father are both working, and he has to manage himself till they come home from office. So he's able to flex between different activities. This is a reality. In some cases, we have seen this happen. Awareness is the first step, sensitivity, the next. Transformation follows. Having said this, shall I move on? Was it too much for you? Thank you. What I'd like to do over here is that when we're looking at the thinking preferences, all right, that I said about concrete, abstract, sequential, random, when we're looking at that, concrete people, just to elaborate a bit more, they could be practical, they like real life examples, they are hands on. Abstract members will be having ideas. They love to explore. Their eyes will immediately go up. When we're talking something or you're sharing something as an educator, the learner will be listening with their eyes up because they're already forming their concepts. They are more reflective. All right. These are the ways we see. So in maths, when we are giving them a formula, we are expecting them to focus on the formula. But abstract learners can be looking at the concept behind that and understanding the concept over there. They may not jump into action of writing the formula and learning the formula. They would prefer to understand the concept. It's good for the educator to pause a bit and then help them present the formula, explain the concept. Now you find that you've captured more the attention of more learners. I'd like to say that sequential, as most of you would have guessed it by now, is step by step. They are structured. They love logical thinking. Vis the random thinker is more flexible. They are intuitive. They jump connections. Supposing we are sitting in the bus and a person comes in to the bus. The lady is pregnant. It's a lady and she's pregnant. The logical person or the person who is able to think sequentially may try to make space beside them for them to sit down. The random person may say that, please sit down, I'll find myself a different place. They are flexible to move to another location. Do we see such behavior patterns? Yeah, um, even in the kitchen, all right? The structured person, sequential person who is structured would like the products arranged in a particular way. And the shift of it will cause them a lot of discomfort as to where did this product go. Now, and the other aspect of it is that we find that where a random person will just go about searching, oh, okay, maybe here somewhere there is sugar here, then there may be coffee decoction, coffee powder over here, there may be tea powder over here. They'll go on like that. They can just think by concepts they will go about, and conceptually they will think which all can be clubbed. If they want masala powder, they will search near sambar powder or rasam powder, something similar, I mean to say. We find that, you know, uh, this is where, we find what comes natural to us becomes our nature, and natures are different. A learner can be abstract and sequential. A learner can be concrete and random. So we cannot oversimplify about learners. I'll share my own experience if it is okay. I went to a yoga program. A deep meditation was instructed, and we had to do some things during that meditation. Certain actions had to be done. I went through it. The experience was great, but I couldn't remember the steps on my own. So, you know what I did? I went to a person who is a structured learner and told the person, can you please teach me the steps again? Why? Because while I am abstract in the experience I'm willing to experience, I'm very sequential in putting in taking in the information. Thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I'm enjoying giving this to y'all. So when I look at my classroom reflection, I will find that do I teach people in my style or do I adapt to learners? I have found as a counselor, as I'm into counseling, I'm into coaching, I'm career coaching, I'm into difficult conversations for relationships. I find that just this one aspect of concrete, abstract, random, sequential. If I can understand this and apply this, then the instructions to my daughter-in-law would be different, to my spouse would be different. To not that I have a daughter-in-law, I'm saying that mother-in-law's instructions to daughter-in-law would be different. The way they will handle will become very different. If not, they get stuck with, I already told you, why didn't you do that? But the other person might have forgotten. Today, the uh, uh, span of concentration has reduced to less than 7 minutes. So the relationships are getting hurt. So one of my friends has designed a beautiful program, M to M, mom to mother-in-law. Okay. So yeah, such programs are being designed. So yes, Purnamal ma'am, this is a tribute to you. Intelligence. So can I move on to intelligence? The next concept is about intelligence. And then once I finish, I will bring out case studies and scenarios. When I'm looking at intelligences, there are many kinds of intelligences. The basic ones that I have taken up this time in this conversation is about linguistic, logical, visual, bodily, musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal, naturalistic. I've arranged this in such a way that I can walk you all through the concept in a sequential way. The learning gets imbibed very easily. And then I'd like to look at case studies. Every child is intelligent. Vis-a-vis, I hear the comments that this child is not intelligent or, more derogatory sentences. All right. Every child is intelligent. Intelligence expresses differently. And marks do not capture all the abilities. So we find that, supposing we identify, say, like, who likes drawing, who likes speaking, who likes solving problems. These all are different intelligences, isn't it? If I have to look at multiple intelligence with what I just did some time ago, I find that when we understand the thinking preferences and their multiple intelligence, we are able to support the learner. We can actually become learner centric teaching, inclusive classrooms, emotional connect, and so the community feeling. When this emotional connect comes, I'm bringing 2 points over here. When there is more, because I have more time and space to connect emotionally, what happens is there is a belonging, feeling of belonging. The neocortex brain, scientifically speaking, speaks of neocortex brain when it gets strengthened, there is a feeling of belonging, and so the person is able to perceive better. So we move from feeling fearful, fretful, uncomfortable in certain situations, we feel like running away. That is the reptilian brain in us. It's either fight or flight. This moves on to a more recently developed brain, and that is called the limbic brain, which is about emotions. Development of human being is become so beautiful that they are able to think a higher order thought process. That is, what would the other person be perceiving it as? Example here is if I write a 6 over here, you're seated opposite to me, you will see it as a 9. Isn't it so? Perceptions vary. So, when two people are engaging in a situation, they can be, both can be right. This is also a possibility. They are engaging in a debate, however, or they are arguing about something. However, they both can be still right. Right? Okay. So here I find that we find that this is an important aspect. When we become inclusive, that time there is an emotional connect. Now I go to the third brain again about neocortex brain. This neocortex brain, when we have developed that, we suddenly become so inclusive that compassion comes natural. Ability to understand what the other person is perceiving. I will still hold on to my perspective. However, I will elaborate it so that they understand where I am coming from. I may change the way the examples are being given. I may bring different ways of doing things. I may give the person, maybe the child is a hands on person. I give them an hands on experience. Shortly, I will be giving you a hands on experience. All right. I will be asking you all to ask me questions. You can type the questions in the chat box, all right, or a situation, and then we can explore that. I hope you all are enjoying this, and I would like to move forward to the next part of it. All right. If I'm just checking if there are some questions, if there is something to see, all right, I'll be very happy to make this happen. All right. I'm just taking a small break to read out some of them that they've written. Mohammad Yasin ji, thank you so much. Even I'm very happy that, to be on board with you. I can present in both languages. All right, I will do that. All right. I'll be speaking in Hindi and in English. Is that all right? Yasin ji, do you want it in Telugu also? Please type in. I
It's
will
okay,
see.
ma'am. We all are comfortable. Thank you for that.
That's wonderful, ma'am. That's wonderful. I'm very happy that you're sharing this. So, as I was sharing, I would like to connect with NEP 2020, which is an important part. I'm finishing off the concepts part of it. Then I'll go on to the case studies, and I will also look at, uh, the questions that y'all will have. Because I would like to know when we are talking of hands-on, I would like to have your questions shared over here or scenarios. We will go through that. As I'm waiting for you, I will move on to NEP 2020. NEP 2020 is actually it should be refined more. All right. We do have a challenge in some aspects of it. It needs refinement. Some of us are discussing on that. I'm engaging in discussion with certain people who are influencers over there as to what else can be done over there. All right. Because AI has it has thrown a new, it's bringing in new dimensions, which are very challenging, and also the situation of colleges or schools being closed, then how the learning should happen. If it is happening online, then how do we engage them to make it hands-on for the students wherever they are? So there are NEP 2020 is having to refine itself. Meanwhile, what is it that we can align with it? What is it that's beautiful in NEP 2020? Is that holistic learning, experiential learning, inclusivity, flexibility. These are all the focus of NEP 2020. As an instructor, as a facilitator, we find that it becomes more important. How are we explaining ourselves? How are we bringing in different experiences for our different people that who have different abilities or different ways of learning or different ways of absorbing information, and make it experiential for all of them? What kind of explanatory styles should I use? What should be the multiple responses that will come in? And how do I address them? All right. How do I observe before judging? How do I listen before I connect? We do this. We say that what is the learning environment? What is it? What is the structure that is over there? What is it that what all should I compile for a session? These are some things we keep on uh, working on ourselves before every presentation. It is also important that we learn to listen before we correct. Now, in NEP 2020, I like to say connect the points about multiple responses, about, also about experiential learning and inclusivity. I'm connecting these points. Sorry, I'll correct myself. Experiential learning, inclusivity. Agriculture so far was not introduced. Its agriculture has been introduced as a work experience for students, and this is being done by NEP 2020. I think this is a phenomenal high. Now, when I want to come to the inclusivity, now you will find that some students may choose to want to explore agriculture as a work experience. I've done this myself. I've connected to a person who's educator related, and he puts in, he takes students to the farm and helps them understand about the worms, about bacteria, about earth, about soil, the condition of the soil, the condition of water. He makes it a very experiential learning for them. Now I move to the point inclusivity over here. When I'm looking at inclusivity, not all children are keenly interested uh, about the learning of going to the farm. All right. When we become inclusive, what we help them understand is that we say that the person who's gone to the agriculture farm experience, then once they are back from their, the the where they have been to as a stay and they've experienced it, when they come back from their agricultural experience, we ask them to share in pictures, in sentences, and we ask them to share photos. Now we allow the other students to ask questions. This becomes inclusive. The teacher, the instructor, the educator actually sits back, observes how learning is happening from this peer a show and tell activity that the participants are going through. This is a very powerful experience and very, very enjoyable. Some of them sometimes tend to ask, is this earthworm really like the earthworm which we see in there is some famous cartoon, okay? And then they ask some famous things that they ask, they say, oh, is this really like this? All right. Does this talk to us? Some of them are still living only in the cartoons. And they think it is true that the animals can talk our language and we can understand their talk. Definitely we can understand the animals from their from what they are going through. If we are sitting with them, we are including them, we become flexible to listen to them. Now we can understand animals. But if you have to teach it to another child, there it becomes, this question answer session can become very powerful. I'm trying to now come back to the point where I would like to share that I like to look at classroom application. So, Chetana, when I'm saying, all right, we look at conscious, holistic engagement, human engagement, which is holistic, and we are making a thoughtful contribution. All right, we are we are looking at awareness, we're looking at abilities and natures. Towards this Chetana in practice, we find that very explanation styles should be including examples, anecdotes, pictures wherever possible. Allow multiple responses. We observe before judging and we listen before correcting. I thought I'll repeat that sentence. Citizenship is actually where we want to increase this community feeling or the learning, like when I'm engaging in a conversation with Dr. Saida. Dr. Saida, when I say it's so nice listening to you, ma'am, Dr. Saida says it's always nice listening to educators because we are suspending all judgments, isn't it? So if I understand differences, I reduce conflict. I'll be coming up with some case studies shortly. A question I like to reflect upon, and I would urge you all also to reflect upon, how can I engage learners, close relatives more consciously? Engaging with uh, engaging with friends is very easy, but engaging with people whom we don't agree to, we have to do it consciously. How can I engage learners and key relationships or stakeholders more consciously? I would request you to please write down a few lines for yourself. If you have any inputs, you can put in your inputs. I'll be so happy to read your inputs. All right. I pause so that we can all understand, how am I handling conflict? Am I stressed out because of conflict? Or do I include and observe what is it this person is coming to say? what is the core point that they are saying over here? I'd like to share this that when I look at core points, I paused because small awareness can be a big impact. I will share 5 case studies over here, and you all can please feel free to ask me questions, share your inputs. All right. Case study 1. I'm changing the names because this is purely engaging to understand a situation, not finger pointing at anybody. Case study is important because then we know if we have applied in one level, we can apply it in different situations, and the learning can be very good, more impactful. The situation will become, the enhancement will become more impactful. So, case study 1 is about um, I'm into psychometric assessment. Multiple intelligence is one thing which we evaluate. Okay, this is done manually. All right, it is done online, but the report is done manually. All right, very, very interesting. So, about 10 years, more than 10 years ago, 15 years ago, a young mother came to me and she said, I want to know whether to put my child in chess or in dance. It seemed a very, what? Really? You want to ask me this? Then, I naturally I paused. I said, can I understand? One, why are you asking this? Why? Why do you want a choice over here? Why only one of them? And two, what is the situation? Can I understand it? Then the mother opened up. Of course, I'm bringing a 4-hour conversation into a few minutes, so please bear with me. There might be a little bit of disconnect for you in certain inputs. The mother became very emotionally touched that I'm wanting to listen to her. She shared that um, she was she had just separated from her husband. She had not yet applied for divorce. So her heart is pulling back to her husband who's in a different city. In the heat of the moment, she brought the child away here to her home place. I'm not sharing the name of the home place. And when she went home, she found that her mother, she doesn't have a father, her mother, her brother, who has recently gone through divorce, and elder sister, who is going through divorce. All right. So one had already got a divorce, the other sibling was going through divorce. All of them were in a very complaining state of mind. Constantly they would get irritated. They constantly want to prove they are right. In this kind of a scenario, what she told me was, she said, ma'am, I moved away from my mother's home to another location because I could see how this kind of an environment is constantly affecting my child. And my child is very talented. So I want to grow my child well. So I want to understand why you asked me why chess, why only one of them? Because when I stayed with my mother's, this is what she said, that when she stayed with her mother and siblings, the dance teacher there was very good. And but where she has moved in, the chess teacher is really good. Of course, the child was going through tennis also. All right. And the new tennis teacher, here she could find a tennis teacher in the new location. The tennis teacher is very good. But now the child is insisting on going for dance class, but she gets scolded in the dance class and she doesn't know what to do. And this is proving very stressful for the mother, young mother, who is actually separated and not yet divorced. So she's going through a lot of mess herself. Now she asked me, I don't have much money. I want to know where to put my money, in chess or in um, dance. To enhance my understanding, I asked her 3 questions. I said, tell me one thing. When she goes for the dance class, is she happy dancing or is she happy being with the other students? She said, ma'am, she is very happy being with the other students. She doesn't want to dance also. She's very happy being with them. I said, okay, that leads me to the next question. Where you are now presently shifted, are there small children? She said, no, ma'am, there are no small children here, ma'am. There is no disturbance at all over here because her thought process was going in another place, in another way. And I'm sure some of you educators are able to understand where I was getting my understanding from. So I found that, long story short, I found that the child was coming to the grandmother's place. Yes, the third question. Let me complete that. The third question I asked was, when the teacher is scolding, the dance teacher is scolding, what is she scolding about? Is it about the ragam or is it about the talam? What is it that the teacher is scolding about? She said, ma'am, the teacher is always scolding that the talam is going wrong, the talam is going wrong, the talam is going wrong. She's so angry. She says, unless you learn the talam, don't come. But the child, ma'am, if I tell her, please learn for my sake, dance for my sake, ma, you do, that day she will do well. So I had to be in that particular situation. I had to be for both the mother and the child. The child, dear educators, was 7 years old. This is why I connected it with NEP 2020. The reason being, we must be able to observe, raise our awareness. Psychometric assessments is a very good learning for an educator, but may not be able to apply always and must be prudent to understand where am I making this change for myself. So I asked this young girl few questions, okay? And when I asked her in a very structured, in a psychometric assessment way, in an assessment center, the way we ask, in a very sequential way, we ask some things. When I asked the child, Papu, the mother calls her Papu. So I said, Papu, you tell me, what do you like to do when you're grown up? And the child said, tennis. This is very interesting for me. The mother was wanting to know about chess or dance. The child is saying chess. Now, what I did was what I would not have done any other time, only because I understood the child from my questions. All right, I asked a few more questions. How will she make a choice between a dress, this dress or that dress? I asked her, what dress do you think you look good in? All the answers pointed me that she is very good with her intrapersonal skill, intelligence. Intrapersonal intelligence is self knowledge, dear friends. Many of you know that. It is dramatic for me because when I realize that this child is very good in understanding herself, she may not have the vocabulary to convince her mother. She doesn't have the emotional intelligence to convince her grandmother, but she knows she wants to get into tennis. Now, what I did was I read out every question of the psychometric assessment, helped her understand, and then later I filled in the details. For the child, I filled in the answers for the child. Once I did that, what we found was what I had sensed. Her intelligence in about herself, her self knowledge is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Papu knows when she's hungry, how much she can eat. She won't, for the love of her mother, also eat more. For the love of her mother, she'll go for the dance class. Her bhava is very, very good. However, her talam is not there at all. Musical intelligence was very nominal for this child. So I told the mother, I said, please drop dance for her. You please take her, even if it is far. I asked her, what about tennis? Why have you not spoken about tennis? She said, oh my God, tennis, I don't have any teacher here. I told you, no. And if I have to go, that will be very far for me. I said, instead of taking her for dance class twice or thrice, take her for Take her to your mother's home so that she can play with the other children. And more importantly, can you make sure that you pay for the tennis class and let her go back to the coach she is fond of? She knows whom she can work with. Dear educators, small awareness, great impact. The mother came to me initially. When she came to me, she said, "Ma'am, I don't have much time. Just you have to just tell me whether I just want an answer, yes or no from you." But when we went through this exercise, I took the child through, I told the mother, I will have to take the child through a questionnaire and I will take this. She can go and come back. Tears were rolling down the mother's eyes. She said, "Ma'am, I never knew. I just thought I am loving for my child and I'm the only one who can care for my child. But today I understand you actually are sharing so much more knowledge with me." And she stayed back. She got the whole learning. Then she said that, "You're right, ma'am. She likes the tennis class." I said, "Do you know why she likes tennis class?" Because her and spatial intelligence is very high. She's very good in sports. Her body movement, her body, understanding her body, how to run. If I want to run, how can I run? She doesn't have to think. She can do that. This is the difference between thinking and implementing. If we are not in our natural style, thinking will become stressful. Action will become very stressful because we are not able to think in a natural way, and we try to take an action for which we are not equipping ourselves. How was this case study for you? I want to make sure that I'm giving the case studies which are very empowering for you all. Can I request any one of you, can you please put in a message in the group? I'm watching your chat. Was this case study useful? This combined multiple intelligences, and it also included CRAS, concrete, abstract, random, and sequential. Was this useful? Can I have any one of you just put in the chat box, please? Was this meaningful? Then I will accordingly give the next case study. All right. I'm hoping that this case study has been very useful for you all. This is what awareness does to people. When we are aware, we are not getting. Why I gave this example is many a time we all go through this challenge. That is, we become emotionally involved in someone's situations and we don't step back into our shoes. As this educator, as a facilitator, as a teacher, as a parent, as a caregiver for a small child, it's important that we listen to them, engage with them, understand their mindset, what they are going through, step back into our shoes because only we can think the way we think normally. And only because you are caring so much can you give an appropriate solution. So, in such types of cases, I bring in this factor: awareness of the situation, thinking, understanding each one's thought process, and seeing what is it that will be meaningful for them, looking at the multiple intelligence, we look at the teaching environment, we connect with what is making a child feel included in a society, in a city, in a gathering. Are they feeling included? And then we reflect: awareness, thinking, intelligence, teaching, NEP, citizenship, reflection. Very powerful. So, with this, what I'm doing is I want to share that. Can I move on to one more case study? We do come across, yes, thank you. we do come across another situation, which is a challenge. As I shared with you all, please feel free to put in your questions, type in your questions if you see the need for asking me some clarifications. You can share a situation. Maybe I'll ask more questions. Please pardon me. Okay. And so, what I'm doing is this is a case study of uh, this I come across frequently. Please bear with me, educators. It may look like I'm repeating myself, but this is something which has happened constantly in my life as an educator. I have faced this. An architect, his wife, and their son come to my place, and the mother says she wants an assessment for her son because she heard that we can give clarity what the child can study. So I said, it's nice. The choice of words of the mother helped me understand and recognize she's wanting a decision, and the decision should be in favor of what she wants. There, we educators get stuck sometimes, right? We don't have the popular answer for the parent. So she said, I have come here because I heard about you and I want to give an assessment for the child. Can you I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And I had to clear my throat. So the parent had actually asked me, tell me what is it that, I want to know that how to put the child in which class should I put for tutoring so that they will get into engineering. That was her only agenda. I said, can you share the report card for the child for this month, the recent one, so that I can understand what is the score? And when they gave the score, it was like maths was nowhere there for the child. Mathematics was not an option for the child. So I said, okay, we'll give them an assessment if it is okay for the parent. Parent agreed. The parent said, yes, 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 ma'am. You will see very clearly what I'm talking about. Everyone is saying that too much of expense getting the child into engineering. But I want my child as an engineer, ma'am. All right. She is very clear about her choice. All right. Whether the child likes it or not. Yes. So what happened was I took the child through assessment. Mathematical, logical, both were low for the child. I said, listen, Ma, the maths is not going to be, is a very nice child. They're very good in so many things, in connecting with people, in relationship management. He knows how to respond. And I said, as a parent, you must be proud about this child. But because of what the child has gone through physically and through some accident and all that, the child is hesitant to explore something else. Presently, the child is wanting a certain kind of input. And that input is to be with empathy with people. People matter a lot for this child, not not the marks, not the mathematics. That is not really, the child likes to explain, likes to be explained. This is what the assessment showed very clearly. Well, I didn't face any resistance objections from the child. I faced maximum resistance from the mother. The mother was wild with me. The mother said, ma'am, I thought you'll give me a good solution, but you are telling me that the child is not good in mathematics, so please let go. Then what should I put the child in, ma'am? She got angry. I said, no, ma'am, I would have definitely walked you through this because what are the strengths of the child? See the strengths of the child. The child likes to see people around him happy. So powerful, right? Imagine knowing this and talking like this, maybe in when one is about 10 years, 12 years. All right. It is amazing. Then I told her, I said, please don't do this. She said, ma'am, it's okay. You have done your own research. You have come to your own understanding. But for me, I would like to teach my child. I was a little concerned about this because, like some of you know, look, this person is able to identify very well. The uncle of the boy was able to identify very well. He said that
listen, this child is not wanting to study maths. He told me he doesn't want to study maths. Then why are you forcing him to study maths? He asked. This uncle is the mother's brother. So the mother said, nothing doing. I know my in our family, you don't remember, Beta, but in our family, this is what she told her brother. She said, when in my family, my in-laws' family, all of them are engineers. All of them are too good in math, science, chemistry, physics, anything you name the sciences. Now he will be seen a dullard, a useless boy. And so I am very particular. And whenever I encourage, he gets good marks. He gets good marks because he wants to follow and improve upon his mother for the what he is offering his mother. So this was a case where parent also needed teaching. Child went through a lot. The child kept changing schools because the parent was not happy with what I told. Then the child later told the mother, listen, ma, why don't we settle down with this other teacher? She got very wild. She said, yeah, that is some parents do this, no? Some parents do this. This child, I heard the mother telling the child, whispering to the child, rather, yeah, my hearing is very good. All right. So the child tells me, my mother, when my mother beats me, my brother protects me. So what happened is they are being beaten by the mother to get some things right. But the child is not having the courage to share something openly with his mother. This case study was very, very strenuous because the mother was traveling between uh, high court, then going to her own home, and from there, traveling 20 minutes or 30 minutes to come to my place. Okay. So she was saying that with the child, her husband also was there. She said that we want him to study maths. You tell him how to study maths. I said, why are you putting so much of pressure on this child? Maths doesn't come easy for this person. She didn't listen. She didn't like it. She said, when people can pass, why not him? Please help me understand. I said, okay, ma'am, let's not have any argument. I'll keep on putting for the child one machine, oop, or another machine. All right. So when one tuition teacher or another tuition teacher. Now, I at that moment blew my head. I said, what are you doing? That's why the word whoop, I said. They put in different tuition teachers and they were particular to get the child into maths. I stood my ground. I said, no maths, humanities. Few months later, the aunt of the child called up and said, ma'am, we have made the child insisted that he would like to redo his exam. 10th board exam, he redid, but still the marks were not good in maths. Now we realized already 1 year he has wasted. So because you told humanities, we asked the child to choose humanities. And when the child has done humanities, the child is enjoying psychology, different mindsets, different types of people. I thank you all for listening. This is my second case study. The time is now 4:20. It's out going to be to 4:20 according to my watch. Okay. Should you have any questions, I would like to answer. If not, I will share some questions shared in the earlier batch and then give you the answer. Over to you all. Do you want some questions? Any questions? Okay. I'll ask a question which one of my yesterday I did a program I told you. The parent came and I want to share that part of it. The parent was asking, is a teacher, professor in that college, and she asked me that, ma'am, is there a way I can support my son? Because my husband is he's in Middle East, and he comes only once in 6 months. Now I want to know how to support my boy. And then I said, okay, which class is your boy? She said, ma'am, my son has completed college, ma'am. He's now searching for a job or higher education. I said, fantastic. Now, the way she's talking about child, my son, I thought this my son, bison was, about maybe 10 years, 5 years, 7 years. No, no, it turns out to be a robust youngster, teenager. So I asked her, now, what do you want to do? Then she said that, which subject would you like to select? Then they said, okay, ma'am, you said humanities. We've gotten humanities. She's writing daily one letter. This is being very much appreciated by the HOD and by the teacher who's immediately picking up the notes of the student. So we found that a very easy solution for the child, because the child learned well from one particular. Uh, we found that the child was capable of. Oh, I forgot to tell you this one more part. The child was very good in music. So the child actually gave up maths because the teacher was beating him a lot. Okay. Now, this child, when I asked him, what would you like to sing? He sang a beautiful Carnatic song. More importantly, the child was very happy because I actually gave the child a guitar. I had guitar and veena in my house. I asked, what would you like to play? So the child decided to play guitar, played guitar. The natural happiness in the child came back, and the child was feeling very excited to come to our place every time. And so we found that this multiple intelligence, understanding what the child wants, how they can do better, became a big advantage for me. CARS, concrete, random, sequential, abstract. And what y'all have to say, I would like to listen to your questions. Okay, please let me know. Thank you very much. I will be closing this part of the program from my side. If you have some questions or a scenario, I'll be very happy. I'll wait for a minute or two more, and then what I will do is, um, yes, yes, in ma'am, Fatima ma'am,
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think there are no questions actually. If it is, they would have typed in chat box.
sure,
It was a very, interesting session, and lot of knowledge was given from your side
thank you.
related to thinking preferences and multiple intelligence collaboration.
Yes, ma'am,
I hope educators will definitely, uh, learn from this more and try to apply in this in their classrooms. I expect that. So thank you so much. I hope shall I end the session? Thank you very much, ma'am.
definitely, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank
If there is any other connection that they would like, or they have a case study later they would like to discuss, I will be very happy, ma'am. You can connect with me on that. Else,
Sure,
otherwise,
sure. I
we
hope
close the
so.
session.
I hope so. Thank you.
Sure, ma'am. Wishing you
Thank
all a lot of happiness. And educators, we are having in front of us the citizens of today or the citizens of tomorrow, and encouraging them to become a very matured, emotionally strong, empathetic citizen, so that there is better living for